Hey, good morning, everybody. I am excited to share this next project with you. And by the way, good morning, good evening, whatever is going on in your life. I hope it's good. Anyway, but you know how you just get so much junk mail? And okay, well, I guess maybe not so much. Well, you probably do get a lot of junk mail. I do, but I also get like unsolicited mail and a lot of advertising and stuff like that. And ever since I started, paper crafting, junk journaling, whatever, I scrutinize everything that comes in the mail, boxes and envelopes and window envelopes and all different kinds of things. And so I got this thing from our bank, which, that's fine. It's actually from our bank wanting us to use the credit card and all this stuff. And so I guess it's not completely unsolicited, but um, I'm taking it apart, dissecting it to see what I'm going to shred and what I'm going to throw in the recycle bin. And I was looking at these. I got two of them, and I was like, that's that's actually kind of a cool layout here. So um, I thought maybe it might be, worth messing around with. And so what I did with it was made this. And so this is, I don't know, I guess it's just a little journal. So I kind of utilized the same, layout that it has and embellished it and have this cute little journal. Put a little tuck pocket here and made a little tag. Could be a bookmark. I didn't poke a hole in it or anything or put a ribbon on it. This actually was an envelope that I don't remember what came in it. I don't think it was anything that I've requested, but and then just used some old paper stuff to some tea stained paper to create a little signature and just made this cute little book. So I decided I'm going to do the other one kind of the same way. What I'm trying to do is use up some paper from these. I have this, sorry if it goes out of focus, this box full of these, I don't know, they're almost like a postcard size, one-sided paper, and they're a little bit soft, if you know what I mean. Um, they're not great for every application, but I'd like to try to use some of them. I've used some here and there and made tags with them and stuff, and they're real cute, a little fuzzy, a little, by that I mean kind of out of focus. See, here's from the set that I used to make the one that I made. There's usually like two or three, I think it's two of each design come in each tablet. So, and I've torn some out thinking I was going to use them and then didn't. So they're loose in here. But I've tried to keep the sets together. This actually was what I used for that embellishment on the front side right there of that. That was that. So anyway, but I just thought I'd try to use them up. This one's real cute. This one's got I don't know, it's got a lot of ballerina stuff in it. Cute for little girls. There's also some kind of steampunk. This is really cool, I thought. I've used out of this when I made my granddaughter a junk journal, and she really liked it. So, anyway, so I was digging around in that, and I was digging around in my, scraps and already cut pieces of paper, and that's how I ended up with some of the extra papers because, these are only this size. So on the inside, that worked for this and this, but not in here. So I had to add, a piece of paper. And there's that one. And then on here, this was one piece. And I added a little piece here, and I ended up doing like a larger, using the whole, one whole piece for each side here. So, but I chose for this next one, I'm going to set this aside and grab what I have already kind of cut up so that you don't have to painfully watch me cut. I grabbed, let's see, this is not one of them. That's another idea I have for in a moment. But I thought that maybe this one could be from this set. And I really like this kind of faded, rosy. So this one was, the other one was a little more bluish, purpley pink, and this is a little softer pink, more of a rose situation. The other one utilized a lot of hydrangeas. So I always love floral stuff for sure, but beautiful hydrangea colors there. But on this one, I just, sorry, morning. This one, I just thought that maybe, something a little muted, more muted. So I thought that might be pretty there. And I like this for here. And maybe this for here. And I had this paper that I had cut up previously and had bits and pieces. And so it's a 12 by 12. But I thought that these colors would go well together and not, not be too screamingly different. So I already cut some pieces that I know will fit, and this is my extra piece, and I have an idea about that. So I've got that, and then I thought maybe, I don't know, I was just kind of going through, and I could change my mind as I go, you know how it is, but then go in here, and maybe this is here, or maybe it's here, I don't know. Maybe bust it up and not, I don't know. I don't know if I like these two things together or if it's just better to keep everything kind of separated. But anyway, so I thought that those would go well. So I'm going to go ahead and grab a sticky magazine and some glue and just get to gluing this on and see how it, how it's going to come together. So let me get a few of the pages out of the way so I don't stick everything together at once. And I'm just going to use my good old purple Elmer's washable school glue, which I always find is the best, especially for this kind of soft, if you will, paper. I don't know. It just seems like it's pretty forgiving and it doesn't dry too fast. I mean, it dries pretty fast. You do have to kind of work right along and not dilly-dally. Sometimes I have been known to dilly-dally if I'm changing my mind about something. So I'm going to go ahead and see if I can get this lined up here. Tell you what, let's just get that out of the way. I'm going to go right up against the edge of that. And yeah, it's just a hair too big, pretty much all the way around, but I'm just going to go back around and trim with my scissors once I get this all kind of on there. I'm going to take my creaser and kind of help it, make sure I don't have any air bubbles or whatever. So there's that. And yeah, it's got just a little bit of overhang there, but I can take care of that. I just want to make sure if I do an overhang, which I did a little bit here, I'm going to go ahead and cut that because I don't want it sticking to what I'm going to put on the back. Let's see here. Yeah, just kind of grab it and go. Get on the line without cutting it in half. Give that a trim there, and then I can do the top and the bottom all at the same time if I need to. Come on. Come on, that's good enough. There we go. All right, gonna have sticky scissors. You know how it is. I like to, if I'm not sticky, it's not working. So there's our front. Okay. And then I wanted, I was going to do that on here, I think. So I want this guy right here. And I just need to make sure that I don't get into the spine or crease or whatever you want to call it. So I think that's pretty. Yeah. So I'm going to use that. And come back over here, and I'm not too sticky on this page yet. Kind of. I'll just move right over here. Yeah, I'm a little scratchy this morning. Throat's a little funky. It's getting to be that time of the year. Everything is, well, really for what, 3 months now, everything's been spewing pollen, and I try to get ahead of it, but I almost always end up with a little throat thing or something before it's all over with. So, okay, let's see, where am I here? It just occurred to me that I have the wrong glasses on, and that may be why I can't see what I'm doing. Let's see if I can find those. Okay. Oh yeah, here we go. Now it all makes sense. All right, so I think I got that laid. Yeah, and you can see there's extra of it, and that's okay. We're going to take care of that once we get everything down. So that looks good. So now I need to decide, because on the other one I kind of did a thing where I tore the page. I tore part of whatever page I put. So do I want to tear this page or do I want to tear this page? I don't know. I mean, I don't have to. We could certainly have a straight line. It wouldn't kill us. Maybe we'll do that. Plus it kind of helps me line up. I don't know. I'll probably think, oh, that looks crooked when I get all said and done. And I may put a pocket across there and it may not matter that it's not really going to show that much. So that's fine. The only thing is I would like to ink whatever, and since this is the more interesting and part of the set that I'm trying to showcase, I think I'll ink this side of this one real quick, because that is what's going to show in this instance. So I just want to do that. And I'll worry about all the other edges later, because I'll be able to get to those once I get going. So yeah, I'm gonna sneak over here and do some more inking. I'm getting all generous here with it. Okay. Okay. And I'm not too worried about that white. No, I just don't want to get too close to the fold, because then it'll kind of peel that back up. But I know I can ink that inside spine there. I don't know, what do you call it? The spine is on the outside, so what's the inside? What's the inside of the spine? I don't know. I don't know. All right, this is really getting sticky, so I'm gonna get a new sheet going here, and I just, there's something really satisfying about using up pieces and parts and bits and stuff, and that's kind of what I'm going to do here in a minute, especially. But also, I've had these sheets, these littler sheets, for a really long time, and like I say, I've used them here and there, but I feel like they're just, after a while, if I don't use them, am I ever going to use them? You know what I mean? Like, the longer things sit around. Okay, yeah, I got plenty of room over there. As a matter of fact, I'm going to kind of scoot it over just a hair. I'm just trying to pay attention to this line because that's what might drive me nuts if it's off. So, yeah, that's okay. And what's going to happen here is I'm probably going to use the same format and put a signature here, so I'm not as worried about the inside of this spine because there's going to be a lot of lot going on there with a signature in there. So okay, so there's that page. Now I think this was what I was thinking of next. Do I want that next to that? I feel like no. I feel like I still don't want. And then let's see. Oh, I wonder if, yeah, because these pieces seem like no, I think they're all about the same size. And here's another one. Yeah. But I think I want to stay with keeping them apart and breaking them up with these pieces. So it almost looks kind of, I think that's how I want to do it. I think. So this has sort of like a little design at the bottom. And that's what this is. And I guess that's what this is. I think I want to keep that piece for one of the outsides because it's such a dark area. So maybe I want to go with this guy on the inside. So that's what I'm going to do. But this time, you know what? Let's change it up. I'm going to flip that over because I've got this really hairy, where I cut it, this really hairy edge here, which I could cut and straighten up, but also I do want to do some tearing. So this actually, when I was tearing this out of the booklet, I got a little heavy-handed there. So I'm going to make sure that I get that pushed up so that I'm going to end up cutting part of that. But it doesn't have to be pristine. It's no big deal. So here, I'm going to kind of like this writing, so I may try to get quite a bit torn here. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to tear, not get too crazy and let it get cockeyed or anything. I mean, I'm not trying to be straight, but I don't want to just go off and have it end up being to where it's not the size that I need. So let's see how that looks. So we're looking at this, and that's going to show. So that's good. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to lay this one over top, and I'm going to ink it real quick so I don't forget. Oh yeah, get a bunch of ink on there. There we go. Okay, so that looks good, but I've got to put this piece down first. So let me get over here and get my ink, get my glue, not ink. Again, I always say ink for glue and glue for ink because they're both just messy. Anything that's messy. All right. And sticky and inky. Okay, so remember, I'm going to try and really get lined up at the bottom so that the top has the extra. Yeah, I think that's good right there. Let me see if I can, yeah, that little tear, we won't see it because I'm going to cut it off here in just a bit. Here we go again. You can hear that bird chirping. It's a female cardinal, and she is very excited to tell me that the bird feeder is nearly empty. And the reason it's getting so empty, oh, I want to open this up so I don't stick everything together, is because her friend, the red-bellied woodpecker, who is way too big to be coming to that feeder, he has been landing on it. He can't really sit on it. He kind of hangs from it because he's just so big. And he flings the seed, which I'm sure all the other birds below him or whatever are very happy that he does that. But he flings the seed out and it just goes everywhere. And, you know, it's like, that stuff's expensive. Quit wasting it. Of course, I don't think they waste it. I think there's other little birds that go down there at the bottom, you know, on the ground underneath. The only problem is there's some cats in the neighborhood that like to come, and there's a ledge, a brick ledge in the front of our house that looks back upon this window, and they like to sit there and watch those birds. And I'm sorry to say that they have gotten a hold of a couple of them that I know of, probably more than I know of. But anyway, it's, you know, nature or whatever, but I feel kind of bad for them. I feel like we're setting them up. But they do love their bird feeders, and we were gonna take them down, and because, you know, it's spring and they need to be foraging for themselves and stuff. And but, you know, they're out there looking at the feeders, um, like, hey, would you please come fill this up? And I feel bad for them, so I told my husband to go ahead and go to Costco and get another big bag, and let's just keep at it. But you know, that woodpecker, he's supposed to be out there, and I do hear him, and there's more than him out in the neighborhood, but I can hear him rat-a-tat-tatting all over the trees. It's starting to get really sticky. I got to get a baby wipe. But I hear him, you know, working over the trees and stuff for bugs, or, you know, whatever all they are getting from those trees. But they evidently like seed too, so here they are. All right, that looks pretty good. Here we go. There's that and that. Yep, I like that. I like how that's turning out. This, that. So all we have to do is worry about the back. And that's going to be this, like I said. And I think this is cute. This little whimsical. Would that make sense? Maybe. I don't know. Is that too much? Maybe it makes more sense to do something like this, because that other piece is way in here. I mean, I don't mind that I'm repeating it. I don't know. Now that I now that I think about it, I feel like this is beautiful and I'll use it somewhere, but I'm feeling like it's kind of a lot. And I also feel like it needs to be there. I don't know, it's weird because it has, a defined edge with this lace here, but also here to me. So, yeah, you know what? I'm going to set that aside. Maybe that can become a tag for inside. I think I'm going to go with the more subtle look of this. My thought was to come in with this piece, and it's a little bit wide, but make a tab for that. And I thought that was kind of pretty. It's kind of yellow, but I could certainly, and I want to bring it down a little bit. It's got a little white border. It looks cockamamie to me. Maybe I'm gonna go ahead and round the corners on it like this. Yeah, that looks better. And I think, I don't know if I want that wide. On this one, I barely made it wider than yeah, see, it actually went right up to it. It was the same size, but I was thinking since I wanted to use this, that I obviously was going to make this wider. So I think that would work. I don't know. Maybe I'm gonna cut it. I'm gonna step over here and cut it down just a hair. I'm gonna make it a little under 2 inches. See, there's that. This paper is just hairy. Yeah, I think that's okay. I like the idea of it being a little bit wider. I was actually going to use this side. So I want to make sure to have my tab kind of overlap. So let's fold it right on top of. Is that going to be big enough for this? Not really. No. I'm thinking I need to fold it right in like here somewhere. Let's use our lines as a guide. First, I've done that before and that bit me because some of these lines aren't always lined up, if you will. So that seems like that would be better. Yeah, I like that. So I'm going to go in here and cut this off right there. Now we got another little piece. Put it over here with these other pieces. Okay, I like that. Okay, this thing is really kind of stark looking. I'm just gonna sort of touch it with the ink, make it not quite so. And what needs to happen is On this one, I did some fancy stuff, but you know what? Maybe I'll just round these. I'm going to do them a little bit bigger and just round the edges like that. What about, I'll just do all of it. Let's see how that looks. Yeah, it's not bad. Just need to make sure I have this all lined up, because I won't be able to cut this very easily once I get it glued down. So I just want to make sure that my side edges are in good shape. Don't have to worry about these so much because they're not going to be touching each other. They're going to be like that. So yeah, I like that. So should I use, I guess I'll just use my glue stick. I think that'll work. I'm getting pieces of stuff everywhere. Okay. I do want it to stick all the way around, but I don't want so much that I end up with a huge mess, which is bound to happen. Actually, let me get going on this with my hand. There we go. I'm still looking for it to be right about here. Okay. And again, nice to have lines so that it lines up. I can kind of see where I'm at with my edge and my edge. Make sure I'm somewhat straight. And that, oh, you know what? I could have inked those, you know, like right there, just to get that. Yeah, it's okay. That's all it needs, is right like that. And I can do the rest of it when I do all the other stuff. Let me go ahead and stick that on there. Kind of center it, I guess. Okay, so that looks good. All right. I don't know where the, oh, there's the lid. So we're going to cap that for a minute and just see what else we need to do. I'm still undecided about a tuck pocket, but I could do that. So my thought was, I have all these tea stain pages, and I cut them in half so that I could have double the amount, which is what I did. And let's see, is it gonna, yeah, that's fine. There's pages sort of stick out a little, but not when we shut it. Not horrible. So I've got, how many pages? I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So really 16. And then I thought, well, I've got this page, this piece that's actually the right size, and I could use that as part of it. So let's see how that does when I fold it in half. So it's going to be, yeah, less, which is fine. I don't want all my pages, I guess I should mention that ahead of time. I didn't want all my pages to match necessarily. I've got a few others over here, like this one and this one. I don't know. I think that was a printed. I printed that because that looks a little glossy. And here's something I thought might work in there. I don't know. Is that too? No, I think that would work. It's too too tall. That one is not too tall. That one is not too tall. I just need to cut those down. I also thought about the fact that I have so many of these tea-stained CD holders. I used one of these in my last project. Oh, that one's got kind of a tear. Sure enough, it's got a hole in it. But I was thinking that would be a good place to tuck something in. So maybe I will use that. I think what it could be is I could use it here. And then when you go over here, before I've cut the top so that you could slide something in. But what if you actually use the actual pocket and tuck your whatever you're going to tuck in right there? Yeah, I like that idea. And I don't mind that that's torn, as long as it doesn't get in the way of whatever I'm tucking. That would be the only thing. Let's see. What does that feel like inside there? No, it's not bad. It's not bad. But I think that this needs to be notched out much bigger. Wish me luck. You know, I've got that little tab right there. So I definitely want to get into that. So let's just start here. I'm making a shadow. And let's just go all the way around. This is not going to be exactly a circle, but that's okay. Let's see, how far into there did I get? Right about there. Okay. So that's not horrible. No, I think that'd work. And now that's plenty of room to tuck something in there. So I think that'll be good. Okay. All right. Well, I think we're well on our way. And I think this video has kind of gone on for a while. So, oh yeah, this is probably going to be a two-part thing. But anyway, I think I'm well on my way. I'm gonna get this ready to sew in, figure out what I'm gonna use for my little whatever I'm gonna tuck in here. Tag. Okay, and I don't know if I'm gonna do a pocket inside or not. Maybe we're just gonna use that. So anyway, I'm gonna step away. I've got to go to a Little League baseball game, but I'll come back and I'll decide if this is going to be two parts or if I'm just going to cram it all into one video, and we'll see. But that's where we're at for now. I'm going to also get ready to like round my corners and do my inking and stuff to this before I get too far along, any further along. So anyway, I'll be back. Okay, I am back. Actually, it's the next day. I got busy. We went to the Little League game. Unfortunately, they lost. I don't really want to talk about it. It wasn't a great game. But also, what I thought was allergies, my scratchy throat, I'm pretty sure is turning into a full-blown head cold. You can hear how more nasally than usual I am, maybe. So anyway, but you know, I'm not down for the count, so I thought I'd sit down and try and get this finished. So here we are. So we've got our base booklet here, and I went ahead and put together this signature. So I definitely want that to be my cover page because it's the biggest, and I'm going to go with this little guy right here. And I think that piece, and then I'm going to go with all my tea stained pages. This really turned out to be kind of thick. And I've got that little fleur-de-lis paper, and I'll put that in the center there. So that's kind of got some interest. So anyway, I think I've got that going pretty good. And I'm going to get this glued down. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm probably almost always have to use the glue stick on it first and go back and do some cleanup with my other art glue. So let me get that going here. I'm gonna get that good and sticky, sticky, sticky. I still don't know what I'm going to put inside. Really, all I need is this sheet here. I just want to kind of line it up on the center. Get it in there good. Let's see. Really shove that onto there. There. It's really better. Yeah. Actually, it could come a little more. There we go. And see, there's always a little bit of something sticking up there. It doesn't quite catch the glue. So I'm going to go ahead. I haven't used this in a few days, so this might be a problem. Forgive my hand in the way. Nope. It's flowing freely. So there we go. And like the time I used one of these before, I feel like it's, it's kind of already a little grungy looking, dyed, so I'm not going to worry about inking that part. Otherwise, I think this looks pretty good. So we've got that and that, and then we've got our pocket, and we'll make sure it's something cute to show through there. So I'm going to let that dry. Stick my signature back in there so that it can be hanging out with it. And then I'm going to come back, and I wanted to round my corners. On this one, I only did the edges, the ends, I guess I should say. I didn't do all the corners, so I think I'm probably gonna stick with that. So I think I'll do the medium. What is it anyway? This is 4 millimeters is the smallest, 7 is medium, and 10 is the large. So a 7 millimeter corner. I'm not even sure what that means, but I guess it goes in 7 millimeters. I don't know. On a ruler, no. Well, that's centimeters, not millimeters. I don't have anything that has millimeters on it. Never mind. We're just going to do medium. And just see how it goes here. There we go. Okay. All right. I will sweep later. So here we are. And now's the time. I'm going to go ahead and get some ink. I'm going to start on the outside in one corner and just start going around. Okay, I think I got everything inked up pretty good. And remember, this has kind of got a little bit of still showing a little bit of white in there, but I don't care because that's where my signature is going to go. That looks good and inky. On the outside, remember it was blue, the printing on the paper. And so, it's usually pretty easy to cover those darker colors, especially if you're using a really dark ink, which walnut stain is one of the darker ones that I've worked with. I don't have a ton of them, but that's definitely one of the darker ones that I've dealt with. So anyway, I think it looks pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and get my signature going. I think I've got it pretty much lined up where I want it. It's pretty thick, so I think I'm going to try to use my awl to help me. I'm just trying to make sure that everything's kind of lined up in the center because I've got these smaller pieces and I don't want to miss them. As a matter of fact, this is going to be, I really feel like it needs to be a 3-hole spine situation here. So it's going to be kind of small because I'm going to try and get every hole in this smaller piece. I think it'll work though. So I'm going to go ahead and lay that out like that, and I've got my little needle right here. Lay my awl there. So I'm going to get 3 lengths of string and be very generous about it. And I don't know, those scissors, sometimes they don't cut that as well as I'd like for them to. But the good thing is it's waxed string, so it doesn't just fray all over the place. And I can usually get it in the eye of the needle pretty easily. Okay, so there we go. Just give myself a little extra there. All right, I'm gonna lay that there. And I'm gonna, I don't know what I just got on there. It's kind of like some kind of grungy something, but that's okay. So I'm back over here making sure my fold is really tight. And I'm gonna go in. Whoops, I just flung my needle. Okay though. Get it in position. Okay, I'm gonna go in right in the center. And it's got a lot to go through. And that's kind of a big hole, but that's okay. Because remember, I'm not only gonna go through this hole once in the beginning. I guess you can't really see the needle coming through for the flap, the front flap. Okay, I've left a little in here. Okay, so I'm kind of holding it with my, so I think I'm gonna get my awl to help me again. And I'm gonna go, oh, the flap's in the way again. Let me go in right about here. I don't want to get too close to the edge of that small piece of paper. I'm hoping that I don't poke myself. I almost did. I felt it. Anyway, it's created that hole for me, so it's easy for me to get that back through there. So bringing that back to the center, making sure it's pulled tight. And I saw it wiggle a little bit down here, so I'm just making sure that it's still staying put. And still holding it really tight, looking at about how far I went from the edge of that other, the top, we'll call it the top, because it is. I'm going across there, and now I'm looking and making sure that this is still staying really taut. Okay, and then I got to come back through my center hole. And again, remember it was kind of big, so I'm actually gonna pull that. I want one end tail of the string to be on one side of the center long string. Actually, this could be longer, but it doesn't matter because I was probably going to cut it off that much anyway. This is really long, and that's okay too. But making sure that is really pulled tight. Okay, and my flap is continuing to be in the way. So I'm going to go ahead and take my needle out, stick it back in my cute little pen needle holder that I dubbed this. A friend made me that. She's very creative. As a matter of fact, I'm going to make her something pretty soon because her birthday's coming up, and it's not going to be crocheted, it's going to be paper because that's what I do. But anyway, but she made that, and I use it to hold my pins and needles and stuff on my desk. So anyway, I'm going to give this a quick tie off. And I always like to do 3, I guess, granny knots. I'm not paying attention to whether or not I'm getting a square knot. And since I'm doing 3, I guess that doesn't work anyway because you'd have to do 4 to get 2 square knots, right? I don't know. I'm talking out of my league here. My husband is the Boy Scout. Well, we're all Boy Scouts, but he's the one who knows all the knots. And I am not challenged. I always say that. I am so challenged in the area of knots. And he teaches them to me all the time, and I'm like, oh, yeah, that's great. I've forgotten it already. But that's why we make a great team. So anyway, so there's my signature in there. That looks pretty good. That hole's a little lanky, but that's okay. But I like it. This one's really going to be thicker than that other one. This one's like going wanting. So now I got to deal with that. But again, I think I'm going to get another piece of Velcro because I don't want to do anything to this. I mean, I could have put a brad or something, and I could put a little piece of lace around it. That might not be bad. I'm actually kind of running out of my cute crinkly lace from the scrappy cabin lady, and I've placed an order. She's running a sale, so I am taking advantage, and that stuff should be here soon. But let me see what I've got that would be pretty with this. I mean, I think it needs to be a little bit dainty, just because it's a little dainty looking. You know, it's got the roses and the muted tones and everything. So let's see, maybe I've got some. I'm over here in my ribbon area, and you can't see it. It's really not much to see, but it's kind of where I have a thing hanging on the wall where I've got all kinds of ribbon hanging off out of a basket. I'm cutting a piece. It's just a real sheer, very, is that, no, I think that color goes okay. Let's see how this looks. And what I could do is tuck it underneath my wax string so that I won't lose it. That's not bad. I need to put the Velcro on so that it'll hold it. But this is not horrible. I'm also bow challenged. Not just knot, but bow. Hang on, I lost it. I think it needs to be over here where it's out of the way of that tab. This is probably not the easiest ribbon to work with, but that's sweet. Let's clean that up a little bit. I've got that end of the ribbon cut at a diagonal, but I didn't have that one, so there's that. But I'm going to take it off because I got to work on the Velcro. So set that aside. Put my pen back in. Ow, poke my finger in my glue. Yeah, I think this bottle's about to run out, so things are getting kind of weird there. So I forgot my Velcros across the room, so I'm going to go get it. So I'm just going to take, and I always think it's better to have the fuzzy on the part that's going to be on top, if that makes sense. So I think I'm gonna put it kind of over here. And the best way to figure out where the other part goes is to go ahead. These are a lot easier to peel off than those black ones, by the way. Now it'll be stuck to my finger. Is to go ahead and place the other side on top, and then just make sure you're lined up where you want to be, and then press. And just make sure you're getting the gooey sticky on there. And then if things turned out right, that's stuck where it needs to be, and this is where it needs to be, and there you go. And you've given yourself a little buffer, because you don't want to pull it so tight that it's like stressing it or anything. So yeah, so I like that. And then I'm gonna take, I feel like it should be at the nearer to the top. I can't go quite in the center because there's not string in the center, just the holes that the strings go through. There. So let's see if I can kind of line it up a little better. We'll go like that. And again, I think it needs to be kind of off center. It can be right over the little lady on her swing. Oh, this is hard to, I could tie a knot in it, but then it's hard to get back open. This is really slippery. I guess you could say slippery. Hold that. And I'm sure some people are saying it's because you're so left-handed. Because that's what my family says all the time. I can't show you anything because you're doing it with the wrong hand. Like my mother can't even be in the kitchen when I'm using a knife. Like if I'm cutting a loaf of bread, she's like, I can't watch you do that because you're going to cut your arm off. You're going to cut your hand off. Oh, okay. But that's the way I have to do it. So anyway, yeah, that's so cute. Isn't that cute? All right. I still have no clue what I'm going to put in that pocket. But you know what? Maybe someday I'll show you again, but this video is going to be too long. But I think that's going to be neat to put some in there. I found this card, and it actually has, oh no, it's not that same paper, but it's similar. It's something, it was in my sort of stuff that's been like, already fixed, like project pieces and that kind of thing. And it's too big, and I could cut it down. It's not really quite the right color anyway, but oh, my husband just showed up with some flowers. Where did you get those from?
Nona Lena sent you them, and she said they're called straw flowers.
Oh, right. Yeah, I think they're helichrysum.
They're straight off of the plant, and it's like they're dried already. Feel it.
Yeah, I wanted to grow some of those and couldn't. Okay, so look at how, okay, this is weird because this is in like an old, insulator, right? Yeah. Well, I like that too. I thought there would be water in it, but there's not. But yeah, these are helichrysum, and they're straw flower, and I think they're helichrysum. I'll have to put it in the link if I had it wrong, but they are, they're just like this on the plant. I mean, this is just, she just cut these, but it's like they've been dried already, and they make great dried flowers. So anyway, she was telling me about them when I was outside earlier, and they're so pretty. So I'm going to find them a proper vase or something, and then I'm going to ask if I get to keep this because I love this. I don't know that I'd use it for a vase, but I would definitely decorate with it. Anyway, okay, so we've segued. Anyway, this, I didn't feel like this really, but I found it. So in with some finished project pieces. So, but I think I'm going to come up with something else. I really kind of want to use this guy. So I have a feeling that's going to get used in there. So anyway, I'm about to lose my voice again, but thanks for hanging in there with me. And this was a fun project. And again, if you have uh, junk mail, look at it for a minute. I know people who do this, we all scrutinize our envelopes and letters and cards and things to see, you know what, could this have another life? Because we're recycling it. I mean, I am throwing stuff in the recycle bin, but I'm also thinking if I could reuse this, upcycle it or something. So isn't that sweet? So I've got my two little booklets. I'm not sure who's going to get them, but they're probably going to end up being gifts or something. So it was a lot of fun putting that together. And thanks so much for watching. And I'll see you in the next video.